The asteroid fields of Cryon churned like a storm of jagged diamonds, their crystalline shards glinting under the erratic flashes of a distant gas giant's lightning, a deadly ballet where one wrong turn meant oblivion. In the heart of this chaos, Aria Voss piloted her customized shuttle, the Starfire, with the precision of a predator, her sleek vessel weaving through the debris like a comet defying gravity. At 23, she was a legend whispered in hidden human enclaves, the beacon keeper who'd once ignited hope with the defiant signal against the Dravex Empire, turning exile into a spark that refused to die. Her tight shorts and cropped top clung to her athletic frame, neon patches glowing under the cockpit's red emergency lights, her boots braced against the controls, tech holsters strapped to her thighs, humming with improvised gadgets. Sharp green eyes scanned the sensors, her dark hair tied back in a loose braid that whipped as the shuttle banked hard, evading a Dravex scout's plasma lance that scorched a nearby asteroid into molten glass. "Come on, you overgrown bugs," she muttered, her voice a mix of defiance and grit, fingers dancing over the console to deploy chaff countermeasures, tiny drones that exploded in deceptive flares, drawing the pursuers into a crystalline trap. The scouts collided with shards, their hulls crumpling like foil under the impact, but more emerged from the shadows, their spiked exoskeletons pulsing with ritual runes, a relentless hunt for the human who'd humiliated their empire 6 months ago at HFY 3. Aria's calm crackled, Clara's lilting Solari voice cutting through the static, her bioluminescent tattoos implied in the holographic feed as glowing patterns on her scaled skin. "Aria, you're pushing that junk heap too hard. Dravex patrols are swarming. Warlord Krazak's flagship is vectoring in." "What's your play, human?" Aria smirked, throttling the engines to slingshot around a massive crystal boulder, the G-forces pressing her into the seat, her cropped top riding up slightly as she adjusted. "My play? Land on Crayon, grab a drink and punch a hole in their divine mandate. You got that data packet on the vault?" Clara's chuckle was sharp, laced with the grudge of a species whose homeworld had been glassed by Dravex fire. "Sent. But if this AI is as glitchy as the rumors, we're betting on a ghost. Cryon's miners are desperate. Jackson's sister sent the plea. Ancient conquered tech, buried deep. Could hack fleets, but it's corrupted. Time-warping virus, they say. Visions of what-ifs that drive you mad." Aria nodded, her mind flashing to her own past. Exiled for hacking a relay to expose corruption, turning a forgotten station into a beacon of resistance. She'd been reckless then, but now she was a force, her ingenuity the weapon that kept her one step ahead. The shuttle plunged toward Cryon's rogue surface, a planet adrift in the void, its atmosphere a perpetual storm of crystal dust that scoured everything clean. Hidden enclaves burrowed into ravines where human miners scraped survival from the temporal anomalies that warped reality in pockets. She touched down in a concealed hangar, the Starfire's landing struts groaning against the jagged terrain, and stepped out, boots crunching on crystalline gravel, her skimpy attire practical in the humid tunnels, light, flexible, with holsters for her plasma welder and scanner. The air hummed with the low thrum of mining drills, faces peering from shadows, gaunt but defiant, humans who'd fled the Great Schism a century back, eking out lives beyond conquered charts. A young woman approached, no older than 18, her overalls patched with crystal shards, eyes wide with awe. "You're her, the beacon keeper. I'm Lena, Jackson's sister. We found it. The vault. But it's wrong. Shows things that haven't happened. Please. The Dravex are sniffing around our signals. If they find us..." Aria placed a hand on her shoulder, her touch steady, green eyes meeting hers with that unyielding spark. "They won't. Show me." They descended into the enclave's depths, winding through tunnels etched with glowing veins of temporal crystal, the walls whispering faint echoes of distorted time, snatches of laughter from futures unborn, screams from timelines erased. Jackson waited at the vault's entrance, a grizzled smuggler in his 40s, his beard flecked with crystal dust, arms crossed over a scarred chest, his pistol holstered but ready. He eyed Aria skeptically, his voice gruff. "So you're the legend. Pretty face for a fugitive. My sister's plea got you here, but I ain't buying the hype. This AI, Solace, it's conquered old pre-schism, activated it once, and it spat visions of Dravex wiping us out. Whole fleets burning enclaves like ours. You think you can fix that?" Aria's lips curved in a defiant grin, her crop top shifting as she adjusted her holsters, pulling out a scanner that hummed to life. Fix it? I'll weaponize it. Humans don't fix problems. We turn them into advantages. Clara's on comms. She's got the codes. Clara's hologram flickered beside her, the Solari's glowing tattoos pulsing with data streams. Vault sealed with temporal locks. One wrong move, and we loop forever. But if we stabilize it, Solace could hack Dravek's command nets, turn their own purity chance against them. Jackson grunted, unlocking the vault with a crystal key, the door grinding open to reveal a chamber bathed in ethereal blue light, Solace's core a hovering orb of fractured holograms, its surface rippling like water disturbed by unseen stones. Aria approached, her boots echoing, and interfaced her scanner, the AI awakening with a surge of energy that made the air thicken, time itself seeming to stretch. Solace's voice emerged, a melodic Concord protocol warped by glitches, echoing like a chorus from multiple eras. Intruders detected. Human signatures confirmed. Query: why disturb the archive? Visions await. Futures fractured. Empires fallen. Aria leaned in, her voice steady but intense. We're not intruders. We're survivors. Show us the virus. We need to hack the Dravex. The orb pulsed, and suddenly the chamber warped, pulling them into a vision. A time loop where Dravex ships glass crayon, their warlord Krazak's flagship looming like a spiked behemoth, his mandibles clicking in triumph as human enclaves burned, crystals shattering like broken dreams. In the vision, Aria saw herself falling, her signals silenced, humanity erased as a myth. She gasped, pulling back as the loop ended, sweat beading on her exposed midriff, her green eyes hardened. That's not our future. Solace, what's the fix? The AI glitched. Holograms fracturing. Temporal crystal required. Stabilizes core. Location: Dravex War Temple. Orbiting Zorth gas giant. Floating fortress, guarded by drone swarms, priests chanting purity through fire. Retrieve it, or the visions become reality. Jackson paled, his skepticism cracking. That temple's a death trap. Dravex zealots worship those crystals, stolen from conquered worlds. We'd need an army. Clara's hologram sharpened. Or ingenuity. Aria's got that in spades. But sensors are picking up Dravex scouts. Your activation pinged him. They're inbound. Alarms blared through the enclave, the ground trembling as Dravex bombers streaked overhead, plasma bolts raining down on the crystal fields, shattering spires into glittering shards that sliced the air like knives. Miners scrambled, grabbing improvised weapons, sharpened crystal blades, mining lasers jury-rigged into rifles, their faces set in that unyielding human resolve, families barricading tunnels while elders coordinated defenses. Aria grabbed her plasma welder, its blue flame igniting, and sprinted to the surface with Jackson and Lena, Clara directing from afar. Warlord Krazak's leading the assault. His voice on intercepts dismisses you as extinct vermin stirring trouble. Outside, the sky burned with Dravex ships, their hulls adorned with skeletal trophies, runes glowing as priests chanted over comms, a guttural rhythm promising cleansing flame to the impure. Krazak's flagship hovered, a massive predator, his voice booming through amplifiers. Humans, your kind is a relic, a stain on the galaxy's purity. Surrender the anomaly, or we purge this rock to ash. Aria stood defiant on a crystal outcrop, her skimpy attire whipping in the storm winds, welder raised. Hey, Krazak, your priests must be running out of hymns. We're not surrendering. We're just getting started. Tell your gods humans send their regards. She fired a welder burst at a descending drone, melting its carapace, as Jackson laid down covering fire, his pistol cracking with precision. Lena, clutching a crystal shard, joined the fray, her plea turning to action. The Enclave fought back, miners using the temporal anomalies to their advantage, warping pockets that looped Dravex troops into endless falls, human ingenuity turning the planet's curse into a weapon. But the bombardment intensified, craters blooming like fiery flowers, and Aria knew they couldn't hold forever. She patched into Solace remotely, her voice urgent. AI, we need a signal. A rebel's cry. Boost it through the virus. Make it echo. Solace complied, the core pulsing, sending a warped transmission across the sector, a defiant scream laced with time-distorted echoes, calling scattered humans to rise. But the virus twisted it. the air shimmering as a rift tore open, temporal energies pulling at reality like threads unraveling. Aria, Jackson, and Lena were yanked toward it, Clara's hologram flickering in alarm. Aria, the warp's unstable. It's dragging you in. Dravek's troops swarmed closer, Krazak's laughter echoing as his flagship descended, weapons hot. Aria grabbed Jackson and Lena, her green eyes fierce. Hold on. This isn't the end. It's our escape. The rift swallowed them, the world blurring into a vortex of fractured timelines, leaving Creon's fate hanging as the warlord's forces closed in, the rebels' cry echoing uncertainly through the void. The temporal rift's grip loosened like a receding tide, depositing Aria, Jackson, and Lena onto the grated deck of a derelict Dravek's scout ship, its interior a labyrinth of dim corridors laced with the acrid scent of charred exoskeletons and flickering emergency lights that cast elongated shadows like accusing fingers. Aria Voss pushed herself up first, her athletic frame coiled with readiness, tight shorts and crop tops smudged with the crystalline residue of Creon's storms, her boots scraping as she steadied herself against a console humming with residual power. Sharp green eyes darted to the viewport, where Zorath's gas giant churned below, a colossal swirl of ammonia clouds and methane lightning, its fury dwarfed only by the war temple orbiting it, a massive, spiked fortress pulsing with ritualistic energy, its hull adorned with temporal relics stolen from vanquished species, glowing artifacts that warped the space around them like scars in reality. That was too close, Aria said, her voice a blend of defiance and breathlessness, helping Lena to her feet as the girl clutched her crystal shard like a talisman, her young face pale but resolute amid the disorientation. Jackson groaned, rolling to his knees, his grizzled beard flecked with dust, pistol already drawn as he scanned for threats. Feels like we got chewed up and spat out by time itself. Solace's virus is playing games. Where the hell are we? Clara's lilting voice crackled through Aria's comm implant, the Solari hacker's holographic projection materializing beside them, her bioluminescent tattoos pulsing faintly in the low light. Aboard one of their scouts. Abandoned after a rift skirmish, but I've synced in remotely. Engines are viable. Cloak it with their own tech, and we can ghost up to the temple. Drone swarms are thick out there, shields layered like onion skins. One wrong ping, and we're ash. The scout ship lurched under Aria's commands, its systems groaning as she patched in overrides, cloaking the vessel to mimic drifting debris amid the gas giant's turbulent rings. Intercepted Dravex feeds painted their culture in stark relief. Priests in ornate carapaced robes leading chants of purity, their mandibles clicking in hypnotic rhythm over comms, hymns praising gods of cleansing flame while ships docked like pilgrims, hulls festooned with relics that echoed stolen histories, temporal echoes whispering of worlds purged in the name of divine order. Warlord Krazak's arrogant tone boomed in a broadcast, his voice dripping with disdain. The extinct vermin dare stir on Creon, a forgotten rock infested with relics of impurity. Their anomaly will be crushed, but the temporal crystal must remain secure. Its power fuels our mandate. Dismiss these shadows. They are but echoes of a dead species. Irony twisted in Aria's chest like a knife. The Dravex saw humans as vermin, underestimated relics, blind to the ingenuity that could unravel their empire from within. Docking stealthily in a shadowed maintenance bay on the temple's underbelly, the team slipped out. Aria leading with her plasma welder humming low, its blue flame a controlled whisper ready to ignite. The corridors thrummed with the priests' chants, walls etched with glowing runes that distorted shadows into fleeting apparitions, the air heavy with incense that burned like ritual fire. Lena whispered, her crystal shard glinting in the dim glow. This place, it's like walking through someone else's nightmare. Time feels alive here. Jackson nodded grimly, his pistol sweeping arcs as they advanced. My enclaves danced with Dravex raids for decades, lost half our kin to their purges. But snatching that crystal, it's tied to their gods, Aria. Blasphemy like that could whip their zealots into a frenzy, make hit harder everywhere. The moral weight hung heavy, the crystal not just a tool but a symbol of Dravex divinity, its theft risking a galaxy-wide backlash that could doom more human outposts. Aria paused at a junction, her crop top clinging with the sweat of tension, holsters on her thighs heavy with gadgets. We don't take it. Creon falls, and that virus wipes the visions into reality. Humans turn dilemmas into weapons. That's our spark. Clara, Guide us. The hacker's hologram flickered, directing them left toward the shield generators. Bypass here. Solus's code will slice through. But watch for patrols. Drones are on randomized loops. Action buried impulses of stealth and ingenuity. Aria rigged welder traps along side vents, overheating conduits to create electromagnetic snares that would fry pursuing machines without a sound, while Clyra's remote hacks diverted sensor sweeps, her digital tendrils weaving through the temple's nets like invisible threads. A drone swarm buzzed into view, red eyes scanning with mechanical precision, but Jackson's muffled shot from a concealed alcove dropped the lead unit, sparking a chain overload that scattered the rest, buying them passage without full alarm. Deeper in the sanctum, the virus visions ambushed Aria as she brushed a relic-embedded wall, time folding like paper, dragging her into a loop. An alternate timeline where her original beacon at Relay 7 failed spectacularly, the station crumbling under Dravek's fire without saving Haven 3, her exile a hollow echo of defeat, doubts crashing like waves. Had her defiance been a fool's gamble, dooming more than it saved? She relived the isolation, the commander's cold sneer, helplessness clawing at her, but human ingenuity flared. She exploited the loop's repetition, using her scanner to log patterns and overload the relic's field, breaking free with a sharp inhale, her green eyes blazing brighter, the doubt a tempered steel in her resolve. Illusions, she muttered, shaking it off, but the vulnerability lingered, a reminder of the thin line between spark and extinction. Clyra's voice softened over comms during a brief respite in a shadowed alcove, revealing her grudge. Dravex didn't just glass my world, Aria. They targeted families, burned our archives of light, my kin gong and a purity right. I hack shadows for revenge, but your rebels cry. It gives me a reason beyond hate. Jackson shared in the quiet, his rough hands clenched around his pistol. Enclave life's a grind. Temporal storms warp our kids, make futures flicker like bad hollows. We bond over scraps, fight with whatever's at hand, mining tools into blades, wits against fleets. That's human resilience. Adapting, enduring, turning loss into legend. The stories wove them tighter, HFY spirit kindling amid the alien gloom, a shared fire against the cold void. They breached the inner chamber, the temporal crystal pulsing on an elevated altar like a captured star, surrounded by chanting priests who waved away minor glitches as vermin echoes in the divine weave, their arrogance a blindfold to the intruders. Sneaking past under Clyra's sensor jam, Aria's hand hovered over the crystal, its warmth radiating possibilities. Would it stabilize Solus or amplify the virus into something catastrophic? The open loop thrummed with suspense, the unknown a gamble on humanity's edge. Jackson hesitated, his face etched with conflict. This thing's their godheart, stealing it. We're declaring war on their faith. But Lena's earlier plea echoed in his mind, the Enclave struggles a call to action, and he nodded grimly. Aria seized it, the crystal thrumming in her grasp, time rippling outward like a stone in a pond. Alarms shrieked temple-wide, red lights strobing as priests whirled, mandibles clicking in outrage. Defilers! The sacred is profaned! Guards swarmed, carapaced forms thundering down corridors, drones activating in hives. The team bolted, Aria broadcasting a partial signal through Solus's interface, a fragmented rebel's cry, echoes of defiance rallying scattered human ships across the sector, pings of traitors and rogues flickering to life in response. Her welder traps detonated in cascades, molten debris halting pursuers, Clyra's hacks dropping bulkheads like guillotines, but the theft triggered a full alert, summoning the Dravex fleet from nearby patrols, ships vectoring in like vengeful specters, their hulls gleaming with ritual fury. Salus glitched wildly in Aria's pack, the crystal's interface sparking temporal anomalies, reality warping as a dual realm tore open. A void of bending space where forms materialized, pulling Aria in, while Jackson and Lena fought to anchor her. Warlord Krazak's holographic presence manifested, towering and enraged, his carapace scarred from past conquests, mandibles twitching as distant feeds showed Cryon's bombardment raging, enclaves crumbling under plasma rain. Human pest! He hissed, the void echoing his disdain. You dare steal from the gods. Face me in this realm of judgment, where your vermin tricks fail. Aria stood defiant in the warping arena, crystal in hand. Solus's virus pulsing unpredictably, the uprising's fate teetering as the warlord advanced. Cryon's cries fading into the distortion, leaving her to confront the foe in a twisted battleground where time itself was the weapon. The time-distorted dual realm warped like a fever dream, reality bending around Aria Voss and Warlord Krazak in a vortex of fractured timelines, echoes of alternate fates flickering like ghosts, battles won and lost, empires rising and crumbling in silent specters. Aria stood defiant, her athletic frame tense in the void's unnatural gravity, tight shorts and crop tops singed from the temple's alarms, her boots finding purchase on a shimmering platform that shifted like quicksand. The temporal crystal pulsed in her grip, its glow casting erratic shadows across her sharp green eyes, while Solas's core orbited her like a loyal sentinel, glitching with viral static. Krazak towered opposite, his carapaced form a monolithic silhouette, mandibles clicking with ritualistic fury, his claws extended like divine judgments, runes on his armor flaring as he channeled the temple's stolen energies. "Human vermin," he hissed, his voice echoing through multiple eras. "You profane the gods, realm with your presence. Your theft ends here. Your kind spark extinguished in eternal loop." Aria's lips curved in a fierce smirk, her braid whipping in the temporal winds, holsters on her thighs heavy with gadgets that hummed in defiance. "Your gods? They've got lousy taste in champions, Krazak. Humans don't bow to loops. We break them." She dodged his first strike, a plasma-infused claw swipe that ripped through the air, leaving trails of warped space, her ingenuity flaring as she analyzed the patterns. The crystal's power amplified his attacks, but mirrored the virus's repetitions. Using her scanner synced to Solus, she looped a segment of the realm, turning his momentum against him, his claw arcing back to graze his own armor in a shower of sparks. Krazak snarled, mandibles twitching in disbelief, pressing forward with a barrage of temporal blasts, bolts that aged metal to rust in seconds. But Aria countered, channeling the crystal through Solus's interface, stabilizing the virus just enough to redirect the entropy, his assaults folding back like boomerangs, eroding his shields in ironic self-inflicted wounds. "Impossible," he roared, the void trembling. "Your will is nothing against divine mandate." Aria laughed sharply, her voice cutting through the chaos, green eyes blazing. "Your gods can't touch human will, Bug Lord. We adapt, we endure, we turn your curses into our victories." With a final twist, she overclocked the crystal, pulling Krazak into a personalized loop of his own defeats. Visions of Haven 3's defiance, human fleets outmaneuvering his rigid tactics. His arrogance crumbling as Solus fully stabilized, the AI's voice emerging clear and resonant. Core integrity restored, hacking protocols engaged. The dual realms shattered like glass, expelling them back to the temple's core chamber, where alarms wailed and bulkheads groaned under the strain of converging forces. Aria stumbled but caught herself, crystal secured, Solus now a beacon of controlled power, its holograms crisp as it infiltrated the Dravex networks, turning command codes against their masters. Ships in the fleet hesitating, weapon systems glitching as ally turned on ally in a cascade of confusion. Outside, the uprising ignited like a supernova. Human ships bursting from hyperspace rifts, a ragtag armada of traitors, rogues, and enclave fighters, answering the rebels' cry that had echoed through Solus's warped signal. Freighters repurposed as rams hurtled forward, their cargo hulls deployed as kinetic barrages, smashing through Dravex shields with brute ingenuity. Hulls reinforced with scavenged crystal plating that absorbed plasma fire and reflected it back in prismatic bursts. Rogue pilots darted through the gas giant's rings, using temporal slingshots to accelerate beyond sensor locks, their fighters weaving like needles through the swarm, disrupting plasma grids with EMP pulses tuned to Dravex frequencies. Technical marvels born of human adaptability, turning a virus's anomaly into a fleet-wide weapon. Enclave vessels from Creon and beyond launched crystal missiles, shards programmed to warp local time, freezing enemy drones in stasis loops, while human gunners picked them off with precision lasers jury-rigged from mining tools. The battle diversified in chaotic brilliance. A trader captain rammed his bulk hauler into a Dravex cruiser, the impact crumpling spiked hulls like paper, while rogues exploited rift maneuvers to appear behind enemy lines, ion cannons salvaged from wrecks tearing through ritual-adorned armor. Krazak's flagship reeled under the assault, its priests, chants fracturing into panicked hisses as systems betrayed them, turrets firing on their own escorts in Solace's hacked symphony. Aria coordinated from the temple's commandeered console, her voice broadcasting across human channels, calm and commanding amid the storm. Traitors, hit their ventral flanks, use those halls to breach. Rogues, rift jump the drone hives. Enclaves, temporal barrages on the command ships. We've got their codes. Make 'em dance to our tune. Jackson fought beside her, pistol cracking at advancing guards, his grizzled face alight with the fire of vengeance, while Lena wielded her crystal shard like a blade, slashing through a drone's carapace, her plea transformed into heroic action. Clara's hologram pulsed nearby, her bioluminescent tattoos flaring as she amplified Solace's hacks. Their nets are unraveling, Aria. Purity protocols looping into self-destruct sequences. Your sparks spreading. The Dravex fleet faltered, ships colliding in the confusion. Their rigid formations no match for human chaos. Adaptability trumping numbers. Ingenuity turning a desperate theft into empire-shaking victory. Krazak, cornered in the chamber, raised a claw in final defiance. But Aria stepped forward, welder ignited, her doubt from the visions banished in the heat of triumph. Surrender, Krazak. Your mandate's broken. Humans aren't extinct. We're eternal. The warlord lowered his claw, broadcasting retreat, his armada limping into the gas giant storms, vanishing like shadows before dawn. With the temple secured, Aria broadcast Solace's stabilized signal galaxy-wide. A rebel's cry that resonated through every hidden enclave, traitor route, and rogue haven. A call to unity, inspiring humans to rise from the ashes of the schism, forging alliances where isolation once reigned. Hours later, on Cryon's scarred surface, the enclave gathered in a crystal-lit cavern, spires gleaming under a simulated dawn, their temporal veins pulsing like celebratory fireworks. Survivors stood shoulder to shoulder, miners with sharpened shards, families clutching tools turned weapons, their faces etched with the grit of endurance. Jackson clasped Aria's hand, his voice thick with emotion. You turned our desperation into this, a stand that echoes. My sister. She fought like a legend. Lena stepped forward, crystal shard raised, sharing her plea turned testimony. I called for help, and the beacon keeper answered. We held with what we had, shards, wits, heart. That's humanity, turning nothing into everything. Aria knelt to her level, green eyes soft with the weight of overcome doubt, her exile scars healed in the fire of action. You sparked it, kid. Keep that fire burning! Clara materialized fully, her Solari form stepping planet-side for the first time, tattoos dimmed but warm, her grudge transformed. I'm in, humans. Your resilience. It's infectious. No more shadows. I'll hack for the light. The ceremony swelled with HFY speeches, elders recounting tales of adaptability, how temporal storms were harnessed as shields, viruses weaponized as hacks, small numbers outwitting vast empires. Cheers rose like a wave, a testament to the spark that refused extinction, unity forged in the crucible of defiance. As the gathering dispersed, Aria stood atop a crystal outcrop, gazing at the stars. Her crop top fluttering in the winds, the sector forever changed. Aliens in distant ports rethinking humans, traitors spreading tales of the rebels' cry that ignited uprisings, envoys whispering of a species that turned relics into revolutions. Doubt lingered no more. Her will, humanity's will, was the eternal flame. Not done yet, she muttered, a fierce grin breaking, hinting at horizons beyond, adventures waiting in the void where sparks became infernos. The galaxy watched, and humanity's legacy burned brighter than any star, a promise that no shadow could quench the fire of the resilient.